Wholesale Nation. This is Andre King.
Andy Speed.
And welcome to the show. As you can see today, we have a guest, plural, in studio today.
Usually you add an S to the end.
I know. I tried to say it, and for some reason it didn't come out correctly. But so we have a guest in studio today. We have Cody and Jared Graves in here with us today with Icon Investment. So welcome to the show, guys.
What's going on, man? Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Hey, thanks for being here, guys. So I had a chance to meet you guys. What has it been, about a year ago?
Yeah, it's been about a year.
Yeah. So we met at it was kind of like a meetup. It was actually Ron's event that we were at. And so I had been seeing this Icon thing like all across Houston. Do you guys do bandit signs, things like that?
Yeah,
okay.
We do bandit signs too.
So I've been seeing Icon. I think we ran and saw an Icon sign one time. We were out eating. And I was like, who are these Icon guys, right? I keep seeing it. And so then I ran into you guys, right? And at that point, you guys were starting to expand the business and were growing at that point. And so over the past year, you guys have definitely grown a lot, right? And so, that's what we wanted to talk about today. Our mission with Wholesale Nation is to free 1,000 people. And you guys have definitely got out there and shown that it's possible to get out there and do it without having to be on the W-2, right?
Yep.
And have those shackles on you, right?
Yep.
So that's
First off, great name, Icon Investment. That's an awesome name for a house buying company.
Yeah.
So, and the new mission is to free 1,000 people, and freedom is so subjective. I'm not going to ask you now because that's kind of a deep question, but I do kind of want to know what freedom means to you at some point in this interview. So be thinking about that. For sure. But let's go into who you guys are. I mean, Cody, who are you?
Well, I mean, I'm 28 years old. I'm from a little small town in Lafayette, Louisiana. Mm-hmm. Moved here because I got laid off from my job. So growing up out there, it's pretty much you go to school and you get a job. You go work in the oil and gas industry. And, once it started tanking, I had to start looking for other options. So I had about a year to prepare myself for the layoff that I worked at the company that I worked for. Reading all these books, about being an entrepreneur, sort of, looking up bigger pockets and all that stuff, and got into real estate, man. So eventually I found my way into Houston and started getting into the wholesaling side. And, yeah, that's it. I'm just trying to get it.
So what year was that you got laid off and moved this way?
So that was in 2016, December 2016.
So that's a big step. Get laid off and then move to another state. I mean, that's a big risk. What inspired the move?
I just wanted something new. I want to say, it's so one dimensional out there. I needed something fresh, something new. I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I knew I wanted to own a business, and I wanted to surround myself around. Houston's a big city, so I wanted to find myself, find friends, find people to surround myself with that were, getting out there, and I wanted to be, greater. Where I was at. So,
okay. So were you leaving your family in Lafayette as well?
Yeah, they all live out there.
Okay. And what do they think of that?
I mean, they were a little upset at first, but at the end of the day, they supported me. Whenever I wanted to, own my own business, my mom always told me, you need to get a job, and, it was very tough,
Right.
Yeah.
I was eating ramen noodles, living at a friend's house,
My mom cried.
Yeah.
She cried.
She was begging me to get a job. And
my mom still thinks she thinks that Andy's my boss still.
Oh, really? So, funny thing is,
for a company, right?
Funny thing is, my mom thinks Jared's my boss.
Yeah. You never told me that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah. All right, cool, man. Next time you have a call, hey, go.
Yeah.
It's all right. My grandma thinks you're my boss.
That's funny.
So
made it to Houston, and were you part time in the business, full time in the business when you moved to Houston?
Yeah, so that's a good question, man. So I before I moved here, I bought my first rental property. Mm-hmm. I closed on it a week before I got laid off. And I was like, man, should I still close on this property? And I was just like, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna get my feet into it. I'm gonna get running. So moved out here, had a chunk in my savings, and to be honest with you, I was pretty stubborn, ignorant. I didn't go get a job right away. I was like, I want to start a business. What am I going to do? And that money started, going downhill. And at the end of the day, I was, towards the end of 2017, I was living off of credit cards.
Right.
So I had started a trucking company with a friend of mine, and we had that for a little while. Ended up selling everything, and I got into real estate heavily after Harvey. So that's whenever I got into wholesaling.
Okay.
So started putting out bandit signs and took off from there.
Yeah, that was actually a good time in Houston to get started.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very unfortunate for the city.
Yeah,
It was a stimulus package for the investor community, for sure.
So, yeah. And so, Jared, what about you? How did you get started?
Man, I'm your like typical oil field guy, right? So I started, man, like I didn't even finish high school, right? So I, dropped out at 17. And I went straight. It was either military or, the oil field, right? So I went straight to the oil field and got into the oil patch, and I was a roughneck there, and man, I had my ups and downs in the oil field, and I was, my life really changed whenever I had a mentor. So my brother-in-law came into my life when I was about 13, 14, headed down the wrong path, and he kind of mentored me as I was already in the oil field, so to say, because I was already there, and then he kind of took me under his wing, and got married, had kids, was on my path, and my life changed in about 2012. I had a divorce, and I had to take full custody of my kids. So I went from working in the field where, I was happy, I was thriving, I was your superintendent, project manager type guy. And whenever I had to take full custody of the kids, I had to get an office job. And where I was once happy in the field, running with guys, having the camaraderie, having the brotherhood there, I saw the 70-year-old guy, the 60-year-old guy nearing retirement bringing his lunchbox in every day, and it killed me inside. I was like, man, I cannot be confined to these four walls.
It's a big change.
No way at all. It was a big salary cut for me too. It was like a 40% cut, and let alone with 3 kids, running around doing it full time. So and then 2013 hit in the oil market, and I lost a lot of money. I wasn't cognitive about my investments, and I was like, oil go back up. I'll write it down and write it back up, and it never went back up. And I'm like, man, what am I gonna do? And I got in touch with some programs here in Houston, and I didn't go head first in. I was always the guy, like the analytical, guy in the back of my head is, how does that stuff work? And I wanted to know how real estate worked, and where these guys that were paying high mentor fees here in Houston, where were these guys getting their deals, and I stumbled upon wholesale, and I got in touch with a few mentors, and he said start calling bound signs and touching up with wholesalers. So that's how I got in touch with Cody.
So what was your experience calling bandit signs?
I mean, they didn't really want to give me the time of the day, because I didn't provide a lot of value. So
what was your pitch to them? What was the elevator pitch?
I just wanted to meet for lunch, and I got leads, and let's link up. I can provide leads if you can bring a buyer, right? So that's what my value was. But it was like, this new guy, Cody was like, yeah, man, sure, we could meet up. And I'm like, okay. I had to hound him, man. I followed up, and I eventually brought enough value where Cody was like, hey, man, hold on, this deal looks pretty good. And we closed on it, man. And, we met for lunch. We met each other face to face. And, man, we never looked back.
Yep.
Never looked back. So that's kind of me in a nutshell as far as, having the W-2, and then whenever I hit the wholesale, portion, I mean, I never looked back, man. Like, it was all to get out of that job because it was holding me back from making, what I knew I could make triple what I was making at my W-2 job, So
and being a roughneck, you're not afraid of work.
Not at all, man. I had work ethic. I had that. I had the drive. I had the motivation, and I just I wasn't that resourceful in the industry, until I got with a mentor and a partner that just catapulted us into the next level. I think it brought up Cody's game, it brought up my game, and we networked our face off, and it got me to where we are now. So
yeah. So you guys y'all got tied together pretty quick then, huh?
Yeah, man. It was late 2017.
Yeah, he hit me in December.
In December,
January, we started. He brought me a deal that we JV'd on, and then we kept talking. we kept talking, and I think it was around like March. We actually decided to partner up. Yeah,
right. Yeah, so not too much dating before you guys decide.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so I was the all in guy, right? I was the all in guy, and Cody had, I think he had some guys, and I'm like, man, this guy's like, I could tell he's been, effed over sometimes, and it was gonna take a little bit, persuading to get him to go all in, but I knew that's what I needed to do,
right?
And then we got our second deal and we got our third deal, and it was like, all right, man, we got something here.
Right.
And then I think the position that he was in, the position that we were in, we both saw that, and it was like, hey, man, let's make a move.
Yeah.
Right.
We kept each other accountable at the end of the day. It's like he pushes me to want to be better, and I push him to want to be better, and it's never changed.
Right. And so when y'all joined together, how did y'all decide who was going to do what and who does what now?
Man, I don't think we had. Well, he had the buyers list, right? And I was good at I was good out in the field, so I think he was better on the phone. And we went on a couple appointments, and I think I was Cody. He doesn't really want to waste his time, right? I mean, not say waste his time, but
I'm just to the point.
Yeah, I like getting straight to the point. He was straight to the point, and I would, what he wouldn't do, I would, and that's, I guess, the field guy coming out of me, and we're building, not saying that he doesn't like building rapport, but I was the guy out in the field and going on appointments and doing things. So, that it just gradually leaned into, what we were going to do, right? Acquisitions and dispositions, but it didn't really work like that. I mean, not until like now, we did everything,
right?
Where he was lacking, I would help. Where I was lacking, he would help.
Yep.
So that was the thought, but it didn't really, I don't think it went like that for a while until now.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So March of 2017, you guys officially partnered up.
18.
Oh, okay. 18.
Yeah, 18.
And then both doing both things. Do y'all have a team now, or what does your business look like now?
So we have a full-time transaction coordinator. It's me and Jared. I handle majority of dispo marketing, and he's more of like the analytical guy, right? Spreadsheets, just putting things together. And he also oversees majority of the acquisition guys that we got. So we got 3 guys in acquisitions. We got one of those acquisition guys does a lot of like runnings and showings for us. And we have about 5 to 6 callers in the Philippines. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So he running in, selling properties, I guess. He's kind of like, I guess, what we call a dispo junior.
So he does pictures, right?
Okay.
So it keeps our our closers on the phone, always going. He gets pictures. He puts on log boxes. Sometimes he helps me show properties, because I need extra help here and there. So he'll go show properties to buyers. So yeah.
Okay. And so for the new person that's getting started, things like that, we try to go over like where we are at in our business now. Like, because when we first started, we were selling a different type of way. So how's your sales process works from the time a lead comes into your system?
So it comes into our system, it goes into Podio, and then our acquisition guys get on top of it right then and there. So
lead manager or anything just goes directly to your...
I have the acquisition guys just kind of pick and choose. They're both pretty much on the same level as far as, their closing ratio. So we trust them to handle the leads, and they just get after it. They see it in Podio, and they start calling.
Okay. And are they locking them up just directly over the phone at that point, or are they going out to appointments?
So we shoot for over the phone, and if we have to, right, because not everybody
you can't close over the phone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to go meet them in person, build some rapport, show them that you're an actual person, and we'll close them like that sometimes as well.
Okay.
And but to piggyback on that wasn't what our process was, right?
Yeah.
We were going on appointments, and then until we linked up with a mentor, they were like, "What?
Yeah, closing over the phone."
Over the phone. Right. Oh man,
we couldn't believe it.
Right.
We couldn't believe it, man.
Could not believe it. Couldn't believe it, and man, it catapulted us into another level.
Yeah,
sure.
We lied to ourselves and told ourselves that we were going to get deeper discounts by going belly to belly, and we believed that for a long time. And then once it became a hindrance when we went to San Antonio and had to come back because our acquisition person that was out there quit. It completely handicapped us. So we pulled it back in and reevaluated, and I'm sitting at Andre's chair over there, and we've got written on the board for 2.5 years. If you argue for your limitations, you get to keep them.
Right.
And that's
Good,
that's
man.
absolutely true for ourselves. We were, arguing that you can't do this, and then all of a sudden it just took doing it to realize that we've left nothing on the table. We've just become a lot more efficient.
Right.
So I applaud you guys for taking that leap. And I guess your mentor was calling you crazy for not doing it.
Oh, yeah.
Who is the mentor, by the way? Can you share that?
Yeah, Rafael Vargas.
Okay, Rafael.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's a big component for buying over the phone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a big reason why this industry is changing. Actually,
Right.
Yeah.
he's influenced quite a lot of people that you can be a lot more efficient buying a lot more areas just by doing it over the phone.
Right.
Yep.
What challenges would you say came up when you switched from going on properties to buying over the phone, if any?
Just the confidence, that you can actually close on the phone. I think one of the biggest things you got to make sure you do is try to build as much rapport as possible over the phone, right? I think that was kind of the biggest hurdle is confidence because, like we said, for a while we were like, is this even real? And like, I remember our first one we did, we were like, oh my God, we just did it, Just checked out the comps, yeah, we can do this, and DocuSign done. We were like,
Right.
wow.
Yeah. So just
Mind blown.
Yeah.
over the phone.
Yep.
Right. And so, yeah, it's an eye opener, and I think that it changes with the times, right?
Yep.
And so, from a marketing standpoint, what does your marketing look like now?
Our marketing, we got the 5 to 6 cold callers in the Philippines, so they're working Monday through Friday, sometimes Saturdays. We're doing a lot of SMS, bandit signs, and we're gonna be getting more into more like online stuff. Working on some SEO and just we're
Okay.
always trying to add more where we can.
Okay. And then with the cold callers, who's managing that? The cold callers.
Yeah, we both had our cold callers, right? And then we just decided to make a jump to, either one. But we don't manage all of them. We manage one rep, basically. So I guess she's our lead manager, and they have a call center, so they manage other wholesalers as well. But they send us reports, and they're on the ball. For sure. So
Right.
they help us out tremendously on what they're doing as far as KPIs and what they're doing.
So do they do the training as well?
Everything, yeah.
Training,
Everything.
quality control. Yeah, they're awesome, man.
Right.
Been a big help.
And is it like a national service or someone you recruited, or?
Man, it's really someone that I recruited.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were with a call center in the Philippines, and they were getting treated pretty bad, and things like not getting paid on time. Obviously would make someone upset.
Right.
So they reached out to us, and I guess I differed from a lot of her other current clients with trust. And she reached out and said, hey, if we did this, would you do this? Most definitely. And we were their first client with 4 callers, and now they're up to probably 25 callers probably now.
Nice.
So they're doing well. I feel like we made an impact, but they've been the lifeblood of our business,
Right.
as far as leads. So we definitely value them, a lot. So
Yeah, and the reason I asked that because a lot of new wholesalers, they hear that a lot, like cold callers, go get some cold callers, and then the next thing they say, well, it doesn't work, right? Because they do. That's
Right.
basically what they do. They jump on Upwork. You jump on any one of the VA sites, and they just grab a VA and say, start making phone calls, right?
right.
Yeah.
And that probably
I did
doesn't
that.
work.
Yeah,
right?
I
So
did that.
So you've done that.
So I've done that. I went on Upwork. I hired a cold caller. I didn't know anything about cold calling myself. I was just like, let's go. It was terrible. Big mistake. I used to do it myself. I started hopping on Mojo, calling after 5 o'clock when I got off of work, on my lunch break, going to Starbucks, just hopping on Mojo, following up with my leads. And you got to learn it, man. You got to learn it before you could just hire it out for sure.
Right. And then, like you said, you got to have somebody managing the process. And it's good that you have someone managing it, because that's the other part. We had that same issue. We went back and started listening to them and listening to their phone calls, and they were singing on the other end, just in post call singing instead of
Sitting in
waiting.
disposition. They're not disposition the call. They're just sitting there for an hour.
I felt like they had one of those little things that was just doing this on the key.
Hitting,
The Homer Simpson.
Not
The
interested. Didn't answer. It's just doing this. Because it was bad. When we went back, it was like, no wonder our conversion rate is down on this thing, right? So definitely, if you're going to be getting cold callers, you've heard it. you got to manage them, right? You
Yep.
got to make sure you're following up with them, and if not, then the conversion rate will go down on something like that.
Yeah, you have to get them reporting. You have to get them reporting. If they're not sending you a report, you know something's wrong for sure. And audio calls helped us a lot, right? Listening and training them as well. But they made it easy on us. You know, they were already at a current system, so the biggest thing for them is the reports. So we're tracking talk time, wrap up time, and then contact rate.
What is a wrap up time?
It's when they're taking their notes after they dispoed the call.
Okay.
So so they log whenever they hit do not call or whatever the dispo is, or set a lead. It's the time where they hit the dialer back to going.
Right. Okay.
So
yeah,
it's
for us,
usually
that's post call.
Post call. Okay.
Yeah. So what system are you using for cold calling?
Xencall.
Xencall?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Xencalls, we use call tools. I guess they're both kind of
I
similar.
think they're the same.
Right.
They might be exactly the same.
They have the same features.
Similar.
Yeah, the same features. I would always recommend, like you said, with someone first getting started, start with something like Mojo, because you won't know how to set up Xencall or call tools the right way until you get a system that's in the box.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the thing that Mojo is, you can just start dialing.
Yeah, because you can waste a lot of time, you know, with Xencall.
Yeah.
That was a big
time you
mistake
should be
we made.
followed up with leads.
Right.
You get wrapped.
That was a
you might
huge
quit.
mistake.
I still get on Xencall and I'm like, wait, what does this do? Like,
Right.
I ain't messing with it.
We changed
Devin.
so many ridiculous settings at once for different people, and we couldn't attribute what was causing what. So we changed like 4 variables at one time, and then we changed 3 on this person, and it was just it was a nightmare for a couple of months until we just put them all in the same exact thing, then changed 1 variable at a time, and then there's also the human component, right? So there's some people that are just naturally more efficient than others, and there's some that were slacking, et cetera. Don't if you do use Xencall or call tools or any of the other ones out there, if you're listening, don't change up a bunch of the stuff. Just use their recommended.
Yeah,
and
don't be like me. I get impatient. I know that you should have a controllable so you can see what's going on, but I just flip all the switches.
What's this do?
Yeah. That's him, man. He does stuff like
Andy's
that.
over here like, how do you know what's working, what's not working? I don't know. Just go.
Get it going. Let's go.
And I usually break the system. Is what usually happens. And so texting also. So you guys are also texting.
Yeah, SMS. Yeah.
Right.
Same people that you're calling?
Yeah. So we call first, and then later on, kind of give it a little bit of time. Then we start hitting, the list we previously called through SMS.
Okay. What system do you guys use for that?
We're using Roar.
Roar. Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard good things about Roar as well. And so, are you guys doing that in house, or do you have VAs that do that as well?
We're doing it in house right now. Mainly because it's still kind of new for us. I think we're kind of got it down now, but we wanted to, before we just like send it to let somebody else do it, we kind of wanted to make sure we had a good grasp on it ourselves.
So who's doing it right now?
I hop on it sometimes, or if our transaction coordinator's not busy, she'll just hop on there. And she used to do acquisitions for us before she went to transactions, and so she kind of knows how to.
So we're tinkering with something right now, and I'll share this with you guys and our listeners. Our acquisition guys are, they're on the phone all day. So we've got, the ping pong table, some stuff to distract them and keep them entertained. But then we're also tossing them on Leads Sherpa as well for, a couple hours a day between calls. When you need a break, when you're tired of talking to people, when you just want to sit there and BS in the office and just make your text.
Yeah, it's really good.
We're going to try it. It's new. We don't know how it's going to work out, if it's going to kill our efficiency on the calls, but a week?
Yeah.
Into it?
No, we didn't get a chance to start yet, but that's
how much I know. We talked about it 2 weeks ago. What's the delay?
Yeah. We talked about it yesterday.
We talked about it at the coffee shop last week.
Yeah, but we rolled it out yesterday. So we've had good success with it. I mean, we've had it. Our VA, we have a VA that runs it. He was one of our cold call VAs. He's been running it now for the past 8-9 months, and he's been good. So I think we're
we just lost you, Andre.
Okay.
So along with Andre's playing with lots of bells and whistles, he likes to change up our setup here in the studio quite often. So we could record just about any Grammy artist out there with our 3 different studio setups.
Yeah. So I'm
awesome,
good.
man.
All right, you back?
Yeah.
There it is.
All right. So what's your goals for this year?
Well, we're kind of doing, the whole traction thing. I heard you guys mention that too. So we do VTOs, we do quarterly meetings. So right now, we're hitting our goal is 300K for the quarter.
Okay.
So
Good. And so, for those who don't know that, the traction, I think we started a couple of years on that, but it's a way of getting the team on board as well, right? And,
Absolutely.
and getting the plan set up so that they understand and they get buy-in on what to do and what the team is trying to achieve, so that everyone can see that vision.
100%.
Have you guys struggled with your lower level rocks, like your acquisitions and transaction coordinating, et cetera?
Yeah, I mean, we only did it for one quarter, right?
Yeah.
So we
Okay,
don't
so
have
it's
a
new
lot of
to y'all.
it's new. So our last quarter was, I guess, our first full quarter of actually doing it. So we've only been doing it for about 4 months, right? So, yes, yeah, we definitely do. We're mainly striving right now is the number, right? Is the 100K a month, right? So that's what we
Is that the goal for the year? 100K a month per month? So 1.2.
Yeah, so 1.2. Yeah, that's what our goal for is for 2020. But yes, exactly, we do struggle with that. I mean, the first 2 or 3, are definitely the focus.
Yeah.
But it's gonna trickle down. We're gonna get there.
Right.
So
Because there's so much wrapped up right in those first 2, right? Because when we're going through all of our issues, our list is huge, and we try to wrap it up into one. Then we put one, and then it's got 5 in one. Right, so,
right.
Oh, we don't ever have any problems with the issues.
Yeah.
Our issues list is never an issue. The rocks for each individual employee or team member is a challenge for us.
Yeah.
It's the same thing every quarter. We just need our sales guys to sell. We just need them to buy.
Right.
And, so keeping it alive in growth, for me, my background is manufacturing. So it was very different every year what our goal was and what we needed to accomplish to grow to that next level.
Yeah.
For our acquisition guys, they just need to buy houses.
That's right.
Right. So what is your rock?
Yeah.
Right.
So for like our acquisition guys, one of the biggest changes that we made this quarter, we have a spreadsheet put together pretty much tracking all of our KPIs from Podio. So like we know like how many people they're talking to, how many leads are coming in. We got everything, pretty much down to science. So as far as goals for our acquisition guys, we do have the numbers now. We didn't, but now that's our plan for this quarter to make sure we try to hit our goal.
Right. Yeah. And so the action items are there for them to be able to go after.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And so, from personnel, right? So you guys said that you have 3 salespeople right now. For a person that's looking to get started and grow, and it's just maybe it's a partner, maybe it's just one of them. I guess in you guys' cases, maybe it's 2 guys getting started. Who would you say would be the next person that person would need to hire?
Transaction coordinator.
Yeah.
I hate transactions. So
Yeah.
I can't stand it, man. God, it's miserable.
Right.
It's miserable to me.
Title is, not saying for me, I don't think it would be the first one, because you need to learn the title stuff before you can hire. 100%, you cannot hire that out because you still have to oversee that. You know what I mean? Just because we have we hired a TC, there's still, creative ways that you still have to teach,
Right.
So for me, that wouldn't be my recommendation. My number one recommendation for your first hire is like you said, definitely a partner, right? Or if not, a COO. And if you're not on the level to take a payroll, is definitely someone to help you in acquisitions for appointments, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess what I get is that you have a lot of patience. And you have less patience.
Yeah.
And that's why
I wouldn't say I have patience though. We both are impatient.
Yeah.
We're both impatient. It's just different personality. Cody won't deal with it. He just like, get it done. Get it done. I'm like, well, hold on, man. We're like, you need to know how to get it done.
Right.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I guess for me, I'm more controlling. I guess,
Right.
I don't feel like I can come back and just say, Cody, get it done. I'm like, when I'm sleeping at night, I'm like, man, did they get that done, man?
Right.
Like,
Right.
Did they get
I'm
that
Cody,
done?
you're Jared.
Right. Yeah.
Transaction coordinating for me, same. It was a 30-minute task would be a 3-hour event for me because it was an hour and a half getting started, 30 minutes to get the task done, and then I'd go play golf when I was done with it. 'Cause it was just miserable.
Whenever it was just me and him, I would text him like I was like upset, angry, like from 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock. I'm messing with transaction stuff, Jared.
Oh man,
like I'm good? Miserable. I need to call these sellers, you know? Like that's what I need to talk to. So
I got tasks, man. I got
man.
Yeah, and I look at it like Legos, like I got to figure it out, like So
yes.
and still to this day, there's some situations that come up that I just I get excited because I just got to get this thing figured out, right?
Right,
and got to beat it. But yeah, so two different things, right? So and probably can tell based on how y'all came into the business. You said transaction coordinator because that's not your strong suit. You said, hey, I'm going to bring somebody in that's gonna kind of help me with the rest of the other half of the business, correct?
Yep.
And so right now you're doing dispositions as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's about to change Monday.
Yeah.
Is it y'all hiring somebody or?
Yeah. We got somebody coming in Monday. We interviewed. Really like them. So yeah, he's starting with us Monday.
How are y'all? What's your hiring process look like?
We have for the acquisition side, we got it pretty much laid out. Kind of like their first day they're doing this, second day they're doing this.
Where do you find them?
I got a good story about that one. So the first acquisition guy we hired was from like Indeed or some type of job posting. Wise Hire.
Mm-hmm.
And then our second one, there's a Chick-fil-A right by our office. Chick-fil-A, their employees are very
still every Chick-fil-A employee you can.
Yeah. So anyway, one of the guys at the drive through thing, right? So I seen him like 3 times. He took my order 3 times. Something told me, I was like, "Hey man, you looking for another job?" He's like, "Yeah, what you got?" And I told him what we did. And he was like, "All right, I'll come interview." Well, he came interview with us. He got the job, and he's crushing it, man.
Killing it.
Yeah, he's crushing it.
Killing it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A's got the hiring and training down. Their culture is phenomenal.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
That's
These guys
crazy.
with the service, everything. Look at you straight in the eye, handshake, just everything.
Right.
Yep.
They got it.
And talking to one of the owners, just the sheer volume of applications they go through and interviews just to hire one person tells you that they're hiring great people.
Yeah.
Right. And usually you can't go to one and you have like a horrible experience. Right. And so, yeah, if you steal one from there, even better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Right.
to hire the person, do y'all do any kind of testing, like personality?
Well, so we did, but we kind of let go of that.
We don't really like qualify them, right, to say yay or nay. We want to know, where they're at to figure out where they're going to go.
What do you mean?
Like as far as like a high D, right? It's like, all right.
Disc profile.
Yeah, disc profile, right? So if they're a high D, we obviously want them in acquisitions, right? Or talking to somebody. If they're a high C or an I, we want them, Devin, like our transaction coordinator, she's a high C or an I.
Yeah, something like that.
So, we don't, just say you're.
Have y'all done any, what are they called? Like the... What's the one
Oh, you're
predictive
talking about
index.
predictive index or
Predictive
John
index,
Martinez's sales assessment, objective
Not-
management.
Objective management. That's what I was looking for.
Not yet.
No.
We've
No.
heard about it. We want to do it. Not yet.
Right.
Basically, we kind of ask them, right off the bat, what do you not like to do?
Okay.
Just to see like what they don't like to do. What do they like to do? What are they not good at? What do they think they can improve at? We've even put them on the phones too. We gave them a script, put them on the dialer, and
I like that.
just to
Trial
see,
by fire.
right? Just to kind of see, like, we don't even care if they follow the script. We just want to see how they sound on the phone. Our first guy that we hired, he locked up an appointment. It wasn't a deal, but he made an appointment.
Right.
Yep.
He knew how to talk to the seller on the phone, and that's what we liked, and we hired him.
Right.
I like that because it shows that they're not afraid to fail.
Right.
Right.
If they do well, even if they just bomb the call,
Right.
if they're ready to do it.
Oh, they're nervous.
Like, let's, they're going to be nervous, but
That's right.
let's do it.
That's
Yeah.
right. And that's what he did. He dove right in.
Yep.
And I could tell he had sales experience, right? Because he did well with the seller on the phone. You can tell he was a little shaky in his voice, but he did well, man.
Yeah.
And
Right.
that was our first hire.
Yeah, and I think that takes the people that interview with you and tell you what you want to hear, right? That they're like super duper, top cadet salesperson, and then you get them on the phone and they just crumble.
Oh yeah.
Right? It's
Yeah,
like, what
exactly.
happened? What happened to all this 15 years of
Right.
sales?
Right.
training that you
I got to
had?
know what I'm selling.
Right. Yeah. Where's the
Where's the
script?
script?
They're like
Yeah.
sweating like they got a water hose on
Man.
their face. That's crazy.
We had, I kept ours off the phone for a week, and both of our newest acquisitions they both wanted to be on the phone. They're like, I want to do it. It's like, well, let me give you some backstory on how this business works, et cetera. The first calls they're just miserable. It doesn't matter how long it's going to be. John, he first thing he asks is, well, tell me about your issues. I'm sitting across the conference room table. I'm like, oh, well, this phone call's over.
Yeah.
And then 2 seconds later, the guy hung up on him. I was like, well, I wonder why he hung up on me. He's like, yeah, because nobody likes to have issues.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. So, and then with salespeople, I know we talked when we met at that event, and you mentioned it the other day that one of the things we talked about, and we've had a podcast about it, but $5,000 assignment fees or smaller assignment fees. You know, what are your thoughts on that? Because I know we talked about it on Meetup. A lot of new wholesalers. Yeah. You know, the talk is make 5,000, and you're good to go.
Yeah. So. You know, it's really funny because whenever I seen you, I was like, hey man, you know what's one thing that stuck with me that we had that conversation about is he asked me what our average assignment fee was, and at the time it was like 5. And you were at like 15 or something. I was like, man, that's crazy. So you told me it's all in your head. You know, it's all in your head, and it really was. It's a mindset thing, like thinking that I'm gonna get this amount of a discount on what the seller was. So kind of like what we switched up in the sales price. What we always tell our guys is anchor pricing. Right. It's like go down, you know, start them low, you know, so you could always work them up, you know.
Right.
But the mindset is definitely a big thing. So.
Right.
We have multiple exact advice you got.
Yeah.
That's the exact advice that you got. Right. Like I met Andre when he first started, and that was the advice he got. It's funny that you passed that on to Cody.
Right.
Yeah.
It's all in your head.
Yeah. Yep. It's all in your head.
Like, why are these all $5,000 and $8,000 assignments? Well, that's what you're asking for.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
What,
and then once you change it and have that mind shift, hey, this is what I want to make. Yeah. Then that's what you'll make, right? And then it allows you to do other things. Now you can grow the business. You don't have to have as many deals, and you don't have to spend all your time trying to sell these properties, because when it's like $4,000 or $5,000, it's hard as hell to sell.
Oh man, that's right, man. So did y'all struggle with the discipline to not take those deals that would only be a $5,000 margin?
No, you know, we still take them to try to make money. I mean, we assume it's going to be a larger assignment, right? And then it does turn out to be a smaller assignment. It happens, right? But as far as like us, you know, locking up a deal and say, oh, we're going to make 3-4K on it, you know, it's right. No, we're not going to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a lot different than buying it thinking that you're going to make 5, right? It's one thing to buy it, say, hey, I'm going to make 15, and then you fall short. Right. Right. That's another story. But, you know, when you have a wholesaler that's like, hey, $2,500, I've even had a guy say 500. Right? Yeah. If I can just make 500. And at that point, you're like, you're almost like borderline going into like.
Isn't that guy coaching now?
Somewhat.
Oh, man. Oh my God. I heard they got somebody told me the other day they got some guy out here coaching daisy chaining or something. I was like,
man, oh man. Yeah, you see it all.
Coaches for everything.
Unfortunately, it's out
probably
there,
that guy that sent me my own deal.
Yeah,
that happens.
Yeah, that happens.
I've tried to set up several showings to our own deals with daisy chainers, and I don't know how they show up. I was trying to buy it, and then I don't know how that works, because they never even contacted us to set up a showing.
Right.
So it's like, how are you even going to make money?
Yeah, and for the audience that if you don't know anything about daisy chaining, check out, I think it was like episode 19, 20.
Episode daisy chaining.
Yeah, check out the other podcast.
I heard that episode was good.
We put one out about that. All right. So, you know, kind of shifting gears here. We talked about, actually you wanted to talk about the mission of being able to be free, and what that means to you guys.
Freedom is subjective, right? So freedom to each individual person is different. So Cody, what does freedom mean to you?
Man, just being able to do whatever I want to do at the end of the day, you know, not being tied down to something. I mean, all my life, you know, it's my parents raised me to, you know, go get a job. And, you know, kind of like Jared said about the guy he saw, you know, at his job, it's all I saw. We came from the same industry, you know, it's go work offshore. I was spending weeks, days, months, you know, away from home. And the mindset that I had then that's what I thought I was going to be doing for the rest of my life.
Right.
And, you know, it's after I got laid off, man, where everything shifted. And, you know, it's just being able to build something and do whatever I want to do at the end of the day, live life, travel, you know, and provide for my family. And, you know, it's just live happy and not chained down to something. Like, I got to get a paycheck. Because I know what that feeling is like. Right. You know,
I know it's going to sound repetitive, man, but I have the same value. You know, my freedom to me is doing whatever I want to do, right? That's how I kind of value success, is doing whatever you want to be able to do at any given moment, right? But I mean, I do have a higher power, right? So I do want to give back. I've been through the ringer Cody has throughout life, you know, and we feel like we've been given a second chance by our higher power, And if we can help in any way to give back what we've learned and to help people not go through the same thing we've went through, to help them in that journey, that's freedom for me.
Okay, good. And so what advice, we go back over here to Cody, what advice would you give to that new person, or give to yourself if you went back and say, hey, you're getting ready to get started in wholesaling? What advice would you give yourself?
Start now, man. I mean, it just, find a mentor, because, finding a mentor has changed both me and his life. It gets you way past that learning curve. But mainly just take action, because I was the type of person just sitting back, trying to read YouTube videos, podcasts. Like, I was scared to jump into this, man. I mean, I remember my first house I went to go look at. I was like, oh man, but just do it. It's eventually you're going to pick it up, man. And it's the best business that I've ever got into. So
everybody's scared of that first employment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But the second appointment, you're the most experienced person in that conversation.
Yeah.
So
10 years experience.
That's right.
Right.
Jared, what about you?
I mean, for me, what I would say to the first guy, right, is obviously jump in. But if you don't have your mindset right, like I was on a path where, I mean, if I would have jumped out and done it, I would have failed. Entrepreneurship is not an easy road, right? If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. So my first mentor put me on 5 books, and that set the foundation for me whenever I hit struggles and trials and tribulations, where I could overcome that and keep on going.
Do you remember what they were?
Yeah, so they were, I remember the first 3. So they were Science of Getting Rich. It's a day read by Wallace Wattles. And it's kind of like I wouldn't say a knockoff of Think and Grow Rich, but it's a quicker read, and it changed my whole life.
Right.
This 2-hour read, and Think and Grow Rich, Science of Getting Rich, and the third one was How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Right.
Yeah.
So good ones. Yeah. So we'll put that in the show notes for someone getting started. All 3 good books to read. And the other thing I like what you said is that when you found your mentor, the other thing is you were looking for somebody else in your market. And a lot of people think, well, I need to go spend like thousands of dollars, or people won't talk to me. And you found that there were a lot of people that wouldn't talk to you.
That's right.
Right. But you just kept going till you found somebody to say, hey, yeah, let's talk. Right.
That's right.
So, don't give up. Okay. And so, how do people reach out to you?
You can follow me on Instagram. So CP Flips Houses.
Houston 7983 on Instagram, or Facebook.
Facebook, yeah.
Okay.
Jared Graves.
Okay. And, as far as us, again, I want to thank you guys, for coming out. I know it's been a long time coming. We had some sicknesses.
Yeah,
so
everybody was sick.
Yeah, everybody was sick over the holidays, so we had to do some postponing, things like that.
Yeah.
But definitely excited to have you guys in. Brand new studio, somewhat. We're almost finished, almost got everything done. But again, it's all about providing value to our listeners. And I know that our listeners got some great nuggets out of this. And, so hopefully we can free some people.
Absolutely.
Right? So for those in the Houston area, don't forget, we have our meetup the first Monday of each month. February is going to be a huge one. We're going to have some special guests for that one. So we're looking forward to it. And again, check us out on Instagram at The Wholesale Nation. If you hadn't checked us out there, follow us there. And that'll get you over to the rest of us. Andy, any final words there?
No, that's it. Thank you guys for coming out, and great finally having a conversation with you guys. I've seen you, all over Facebook, et cetera, and good to finally sit down and talk.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks you. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that's a wrap. Y'all come back now. You hear?